Have you ever encountered a colleague using a word or phrase and thought, that just doesn't make sense, or that wasn't clear? Well, let's talk about it. Hi there, I'm your best friend at work, and I'm here to share my advice, tips and support to help you navigate the sometimes murky, often dirty waters of the corporate world. There are so many words and phrases in the corporate lingo that we use every day at the workplace, and we take it for granted that there's nothing wrong with them. But is that true? Number 1, revert. Perhaps one of the most common examples is the use of the word revert to mean reply or respond. Revert doesn't mean that at all. It means to go back to a previous state. So, if you're saying or typing, I'm waiting for the vendor to revert to me, what you're actually saying is that you're waiting for the vendor to return to a previous state where they were you. Confusing maybe, but technically that's what you really mean, at least according to the rules of the English language. And what surprised me was that even people, leaders with seemingly good communication skills, meaning they were articulate and confident, often misuse this word. ASAP. There is nothing technically wrong with using ASAP or as soon as possible, but the problem is that it's ambiguous. As soon as possible could mean different things to different people. To you, it could mean next Monday. To your boss, it could mean today. So in most cases, it's better to be specific with the timing to better manage expectations. Number 3, think outside the box. Similar to ASAP, using the phrase think outside the box is also ambiguous. I mean, think about it. What does it really mean? It can be interpreted so loosely that it loses all meaning. For example, if you don't think someone's proposed solution is creative enough, you might give the feedback, please think outside the box. But how far do you want that person to go? Or how much more effort do you want them to make when you give such feedback? They may do too little or too much. Neither is good. If they do too little, probably not much would have changed from the original proposed solution. Or if they do too much, then they might have spent effort focusing on an aspect of the original solution that you didn't have a problem with. Either way, you wouldn't have gotten what you wanted, so it means time and effort wasted for all parties involved. So once again, it's better to be clear and specific and pinpoint exactly what area or areas you want improvement in if you want the result that you desire. Maybe. Again, just like ASAP, there's nothing inherently wrong with the word maybe, but at least in a Singapore workplace context, it's often being used incorrectly. Just like in my previous video where I talked about how some people use the phrase sorry, but to soften what they're about to say, I heard people use maybe for the same reason. For example, in a workshop, the facilitator would say to the participants, do you maybe want to shift your chairs closer to the front? Or a more egregious example, also by a facilitator during a workshop, alright, it's 12 p.m, do you maybe want to go for your lunch now and maybe come back in an hour's time, maybe 1 p.m? That's just too many maybes. It's not necessary at all, and if the intent was to soften the message, then there are other ways. Tone and body language, for example. And maybe you think I'm exaggerating with the examples I just shared. And by the way, that's the right use of the word maybe over there. But it actually happened. No cap. I think is another one that many of us use as a crutch. It's quite similar to or which I shared in my previous video, are a couple of filler words that add no value and create the impression that you're unsure. I think is no different. If you think about it, there's really no reason to use it. If you want to say something, just go right ahead and say it. Because if you are saying it, it means you thought about it. At least, here's hoping you do think before you speak. So technically, you don't need to say I think at all. But I suppose all things considered, the use of I think is pretty harmless. Just don't do a double whammy of saying, I think we need to reconsider our current approach. See what I mean? Alright, those were 5 words or phrases that seem to be widely accepted as part of the corporate lingo, at least where I come from here in Singapore, but they are actually either unhelpful or unnecessary or just plain wrong. There's a better way to do it. Well, comment below if you agree or disagree with anything I said. Nevertheless, hope you found the video helpful. If you did, please like and subscribe, and do share this video with your friends. Thanks for tuning in and sticking around till the end. Cheers.